Football with friends. It's fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Wednesday edition of the show. So pumped to be here with you guys as we have a ton to get to today. It was awesome to wake up this morning and see in the old podcatcher feed that Josh Pate, for the Pate State Speaker Series, come down to Austin to have a cool 45-minute interview with Coach Sark. A couple takeaways from that. We also have the recruiting updates, stuff from Chris Stewart following his visit, the 2026 wide receiver pledge for Texas, following his visit to SMU and sort of where Texas stands there. We also have Jason writing up in his 3-2-1 today, kind of his updated predictions for some of these, big name recruits that Texas is after. And Cody, I know that Ketchum talked about it earlier today on his show, but there was the stuff from your Behind Enemy Lines column regarding OU and some other stuff. I guess probably, do you want to start out with the Sark interview or the Chris Stewart stuff? Where do you want to get this thing kicked off?
Yeah, what kind of caught your mind with the Sarkisian interview? Because I thought it was fantastic. I think it dropped like 8 o'clock this morning, and I listened to it, and it was 45 minutes of, honestly, my biggest takeaway from it was just, dude, Josh, and this is going to sound lame or gay or whatever, but like Josh Pate is crushing these interviews. The Speaker Series where he talked to Ryan Day, like he's had Kirby on before. He had Lincoln Riley last week. Sarkisian, it's just like he's crushing it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Pate's at the top of his game for sure.
I thought the interviews too, like his questioning and the timing of it and the way he lays the questions out has been.
I think that Sark reads a whole lot of maybe not self-help books, but these books. I think he probably reads a bunch of books about leadership and stuff like that. Don't you? Because it felt almost like I feel like I came away from that interview and listening to it. Obviously I didn't learn anything new about the team. You know what I mean? I didn't, there wasn't any big update on how, about how he thinks like Travis Shaw looks or things like, the things that we talk about. But I did come away from it with some, I felt like I got some life advice out of this whole thing. It's an awesome interview. It really is.
So the one thing I just remembered, the one thing that I took away from it was, maybe this is dumb, but he was asked basically about each game week in and week out, what this year looks like. He's like, I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but he's like, getting ready for Columbus, playing Texas A&M, going to Florida, Georgia,
going to Athens.
Yeah. But the way he went through those teams and it was like the regular, Oklahoma, A&M, obviously, you got Ohio State to start the season. You got Georgia in there, but he put Florida in there.
Yeah, well, he
knows. To us, we know. To him, he knows. But to think to the greater landscape, I don't think everybody in the national media, maybe even in our chat, in our ethos, everybody's aware that Florida's got a crap ton of talent, and they got a hell of a quarterback, and they belong in that conversation.
Just a little thing I picked up on. So you remember last week whenever he reiterated it to Pate today in the interview. And if you guys haven't heard it, I would recommend going and listening to. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's also on the podcast. Did he say that he stole his idea about Quinn Ewers from him? Was that also Pate's take?
Yeah.
He said, I think I might have stole it from you.
Yeah.
So
which means he listens to him.
So these guys are listening to call. They're just, we know that some members of the staff listen to this show, but it's wild. It's wild to me to think. It's wild to me that Sark sits there in front of YouTube and watches college football content.
I wonder that. I've always wondered that. I wonder if, I guess the easy one, I know this is it's the same sport, but different theory here is you watch you always see the background videos of when they do behind the scenes of NFL draft you know, and it's like behind the scenes of the Eagles, and then like on the screen behind him, it's like Daniel Jeremiah just talking. And I know that's a bigger, bigger thing, but like they always say like, you don't listen to the outside, blah, 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 blah. But they all do. And I think Ryan Day said it best last week in the speaker series he did with Pate. He goes, everybody, we always say like, don't listen to the outside. He goes, but you have to in this day and age. You have to listen to everybody. You just have to understand you can't like accept it. You can't, if someone's hating or talking crap, you have to know how to use that or you have to know how to ignore it. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's impossible really to not hear what people are saying about you. But it's also interesting the fact that like they're just regular dudes. Like if you were a coach, would you just sit in your office? Maybe you would, but would you just sit in your office and just be like, I'm going to grind tape and I'm going to watch my team and I'm going to watch prospects? Or would you like, want to hear what the biggest college football show in America has to say? Or would you want to hear what the local guys have to say? I think that's just a normal thing, right? Like who was the coach?
Well, here's the thing.
Brandon Bean, the Brandon Bean thing from their day, right? He's like, I just come on here and you guys are telling me I need to go draft a receiver. Well, 4 years ago, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Brandon Bean, the GM for the Bills. And he just kills the local radio guys. Like they're listening to him. He listens to him. It's like everybody listens to everybody.
Well, because we're all football men.
Yeah.
We like football. Like if people, like that's what I do is like during the daytime, like, I consume, I work but like while I'm doing it, I'll watch a film. I'll perhaps like pro football talk, like the podcast on, or, what I'm saying? So stuff like this. And I think that if you love football and stuff like that, these guys like to watch football and see what people are saying and all the rest of it. It's like, it's just, that's the stuff that they like. Sark has said it a million times. He's like, I'm just like you guys. I'm a fan. I get done with these games. I go home and like I get sick watching the West Coast football games. It's what he does. So I think it's wild that he admitted that. And what he was talking about was about how Quinn Ewers, he said that he kind of boosted Josh Pate's take about like, well, on one hand you say, if he would have left to go to Oregon or something like that, and Sark said this at the Houston Touchdown Club too. Like where he's like, if he'd have left, all anybody would have been saying was, all he cared, college football is ruined. They like, all they care about is money. Like, what about his legacy at Texas and stuff like that? He should have gone pro, or, but then he leaves and everybody's like, what's he doing leaving? He could have made $3 million going to do something else. And he falls to the 7th round. He's like, well, which one is it? Which makes sense. But I think it's interesting that he, I think he kind of admitted that he kind of boosted that take from that show.
That was kind of, I caught that when he said that. And I was like, that's interesting. That it's like one of those self-admittance things when he probably knew he got the take and he's like, damn, that's a good take. And then he got in front of Pate and he was asked the question by Pate and he's like, I think I got this from you. And like, that was kind of funny. Yeah, man, I thought it was a phenomenal interview. You rarely get to see something like that where it's 45 minutes of just straight great questions.
Very, very, very little intel about the team.
No. Yeah. But that's, so now if you're listening and you're like a local person, outside of Terry, every question you ever ask going forward should be player.
Yeah, we don't need to hear about this philosophy stuff or how things have changed. So
we got it all.
How it's different this year than it was the first year.
You got it all.
Your general philosophies about how you monitor player success and how you communicate to players where they stand in the pecking order and how you keep them out of the portal and how does NIL come into it and all. Like we don't need that. We've gotten those answers.
I want the first whenever the next availability is. I want the first question. How's Travis Shaw look?
Yeah,
just right to it.
Yeah, like what is his body composition? Thanks to everybody here in the chat. So good to see you guys. Alex and Cody, is it a safe bet the Texas will go 11-1 if their defense is equally as good as the 2024 defense? Oh, if the defense is equally as good, So that would mean out of the games that we just discussed, no, I don't think it's a safe bet. Even if the defense is as good, I think that between Ohio State, Georgia, Florida,
A&M,
A&M, you got some, and then as always, dude, it's like I I know we've said it and said it and said it, but it's like
it's a rival.
who's next year's South Carolina or next year's Florida? You know, could that team possibly be on the schedule?
I
No,
don't.
you don't.
I
You don't
don't
think
think
that there's any
Kentucky.
You don't think that there's any. Let me I'll pull up the schedule.
I think we have it saved on here.
Okay.
Or at least it was at one point. It looks like it got deleted.
Yeah.
But like the main teams, the same teams as last year. So it's Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vandy, and Arkansas. The other 4 teams.
None of those teams are next year's South Carolina. But dude, last year, do we think South Carolina was going to be last year's South Carolina?
Well, South Carolina at least ended the year before pretty. I think they ended it pretty decent.
But didn't we? Do you remember where you had them in your preseason media poll?
I could pull it up right now. I think I tweeted it too. I know I didn't have them last.
Did I have them last? Is that bad?
SEC media poll. That would have been what, July?
I don't know where. I have no idea where mine would even be. Yeah, it would have been from July.
I think I actually, you know what I think I did? I think I posted it on a post on Orange Bloods.
Yeah, because I think we had to fill it out there. It was just through the portal there at the media days. So
yeah,
I'm not sure I ever.
Then they gave us our results live, like on the day after we got home. So that would have been July. What was that? July 14th, July 19th.
God, we're gonna be right back up on it pretty soon. We're gonna get to go to the Rivals 5-star in June, and they'll be like what, it's like 3.5 weeks until that.
Here was my top 10. I had I had Ole Miss, Texas, Bama, Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, LSU, South Carolina at 9, and then Kentucky at 10. The overall consensus, according to all the media members in attendance, had Georgia, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, A&M, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida. South Carolina came in at 14. So Vandy was at 16.
Okay. So, I mean, but here's the thing. Whenever I think about Mississippi State, I think about Arkansas, I think about Vandy, I think about Kentucky. Would Kentucky be the one? Regardless, dude, I don't think that one of those teams is next year's South Carolina. That you go
What about Vandy, though? Vandy was voted last, and Vandy was, I guess, South Carolina is that pretty clearly seems to be like it's probably going to be Florida. Florida's going to take the next step. But, like, what about the Vandy, where Vandy was literally predicted to be dead last? Oklahoma feels like right now either Oklahoma or Mississippi State's going to be voted dead last, right?
Oklahoma dead last?
Do you think you don't think they'll be voted dead last?
No, I would vote Mississippi State dead last.
What's what I said? Mississippi State or Oklahoma? I just think of brand. Nobody's going to vote Oklahoma.
I don't know. Like, should we be like, because you're saying that, like, in your behind enemy lines, you're saying, look, you know what?
Let me start it off with this, because you kind of walk right into it. Let me just say this right off the top. In the behind enemy lines, I talked a lot about Oklahoma on here, and I was asked a question in the comments, and I'll answer this first. The question was, where'd it go? It was about Mateer. 1, 2. How much of OU's season is hanging on John Mateer? And when you ask that question that way,
I think, well, if you compare him and Arbuckle, like if you can combine him and Ben Arbuckle, I think the whole season depends on them.
The whole thing.
He's gonna have to be the tide that truly does lift all boats. He can't be. Like, I would say that Jackson Arnold last year, and to some degree maybe Michael Hawkins.
Yeah.
Or was that Hawkins? I get him mixed up with the Mississippi State guy.
Yep.
Who's that? Michael Van Buren.
Yep. Two different guys.
Hawkins
is Oklahoma. Van Buren is not. Yeah.
the he was a win despite him type of quarterback last year. And I'm not sure he's going to be, I'm not sure he's going to be next year at all. I think he might improve at Auburn. I have a sneaky feeling that he might kind of be good there. But I just know that if you talk about it, he's the kind of quarterback that you put in there, and if you're going to win this game, if you're a coaching staff, you got to think, man, we got to kind of win in spite of this guy. He wasn't even a win with him kind of guy, right? I think that
who are you talking about? You're talking about Arnold?
Yes. I'm just trying to compare the situation last year, Oklahoma, to what I think is going to be this next year. John Mateer needs to be a player, not win in spite of him, of course, not even win with him. He needs to be a win because of him. Yeah. He needs to be a win because of him quarterback. Put this team on my back and win because of him. And from what I've seen of him, admittedly, I wasn't up late watching a bunch of games last year of Washington State. I only have so much time. I love watching any football that's on, but that wasn't anything that I went out of my way to go do a whole lot of. But you've seen, we have the film available to us. We've seen it. That guy's good, and he can. The thing that whenever I've kind of started watching him more closely, and I should have just known it by looking at the stats, but just how he can hurt you with his legs. He's a well-rounded, good quarterback that can hurt you in a lot of ways. So I think that you're exactly right. That next year, it's like if you could tell me if I could just look at the old, Back to the Future, you can look at the old almanac, right, and just you can look back and see if I could just see his future stats. I think I could, I'd easily be able to tell you what kind of season Oklahoma had.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think
I don't know if he's the type of guy you could do that for.
Oh, dude, I think you could. If the stats look anything like they did at Washington State last year, I think Oklahoma will have had a successful season.
3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 picks.
What about the rushing? I don't know the number, but he runs a lot.
And the rushing is 800.
Yeah.
And 15 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So you're telling me 800 on the ground, 3,100 in the air. He's responsible for 44 touchdowns. That's not going to happen. Let's say he's responsible for 30 touchdowns. And he has got 3,800 yards total. So 3,000 passing, 800.
Yeah.
Let's say he's got 3,000 passing, 500 rushing. Because rushing in the SEC is entirely different than rushing at Washington State. 3,000 passing, 500 rushing. He's responsible for 32 touchdowns. That feels like an SEC version of his stats from last year.
Okay, then Oklahoma wins 9 games.
9 games?
Yeah.
Who the hell are they beating?
If Mateer is that good, if Mateer's putting up those stats against them, they're good.
Come on, Alex. They play elite teams. The reason I said that was because
pull up their schedule.
If you look at their schedule, is brutal. It's one of the toughest schedules.
I know. Maybe I just need to get it in front of me because
there's no way in hell you can tell yourself a story where they win 9 games with that stat line. Yeah, the reason I brought it, the reason I combated.
Okay, so let's look it up. Illinois State's winnable.
Sure. They'll start 4-1.
Michigan, if Mateer's good, Michigan's winnable.
No.
What? That game's in Norman. That's winnable.
Whatever. I don't think so.
They lost Mason Graham. They lost Kenneth Grant. They lost Will Johnson. They lost both of their running backs. They're gonna have a freshman starting quarterback. They lost Josiah Stewart.
The number 7 recruiting class in 2025.
Okay.
2024.
And Mateer is awesome. I think that they can win that one.
Oh my gosh.
You don't so it's just out of the question. I wonder what the opening line. I wonder what the line on that game is right now. It's probably only 6.5 or something like that. Tell me that somebody can't win as a 6.5 point underdog. What do you think the line's something like 17? Is there an early line?
Vegas Insider has a line.
What is it? I'm going to say -6. I'm going to say that I could be totally wrong. I'm going to say it's Michigan -6.5.
This can't be this is basketball. What the hell is this? This ain't right. No, this is basketball from like 2 months ago. That's not right. They don't have a line.
Okay. Well, what do you think what do you think it's going to be?
Opening line for Oklahoma, Michigan, week 2.
Yeah, when it first comes out in the summertime.
It's in Norman, so yeah, it's probably not going to be like extravagant. You're probably in the ballpark, 6.5, 7.
A team who's a 6.5 point underdog can't win at home. Are you kidding me? I'm just saying it's a game that they can win.
Okay. So they go. Okay, so they start out Illinois. They win Illinois State, Michigan, Temple, 3-0.
Okay, let's just say that they're 3-0, and then Auburn,
Jackson Arnold goes back home,
who they know how to defend better than anybody else in the world,
and he knows how to play defense against them better than anybody in the world.
Give me the Brent Venables side of that.
Kent State 5-0. They're undefeated going into
Texas.
Red River.
You told me they can't peel off. Okay, so can they peel off 4 more? Texas, no.
Hell no.
North Carolina I just don't
know.
But now we're talking about a 5-0 Oklahoma team. They could be feeling this some juice. They could be feeling their.
Okay, so they're gonna play Texas. They're gonna beat Texas then.
No.
Well, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, this is tough down this. This is tough down.
5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5, 5-6, 5-7.
Okay. Yeah, give me the 9.
Just like you said, they could be hot. And guess what? If they get hot and they go 5-0 and they run into a brick wall, run into a brick wall, and then you go 1 loss, 2 loss, 3 loss, 4 loss, and now you're stacked up and you lose to Missouri, and then
getting the 9 could be tough, even if Mateer's good.
Dude, okay, let's play glass 3/4 full with Oklahoma right here. All right, John Mateer, 3,500 passing yards, 600 on the ground, so 4,100 yards.
I mean, that's good.
35 touchdowns, 7 picks. All right. They beat Illinois State. They beat Michigan. They beat Temple. They beat Auburn. They beat Kent State. They lose to Texas. They lose to South Carolina. They beat Ole Miss. So that's now 6-2. All right. They go to Knoxville. Win. 7-2.
Is it?
7-2. Lose at Bama. 7-3. Beat Missouri at home. 8-3. You literally
8 wins if Mateer's that good. That's not that, but you acted like
he's
9.
Gotta be like that's like Heisman
9
level.
was out of the question. It's not out of the question.
That's Heisman.
If we tell ourselves a story to where they can get to 8,
they have to beat one of Texas, South Carolina, Bama, or LSU. And 3 of those are on the road.
What you never know. What if like Nussmeier gets hurt or something? I don't know. I'm not here trying to defend.
Seems like it.
Sooners.
You're trying to build a case for Mateer to be a Heisman. I mean, what you got to go put a bet on old Johnny Mateer to be the Heisman.
No, I'm not gonna put a bet on that. I would bet my life that if you went to Texas Beef Traders that you would go back. There's no other place that I would say that about. There are stores that I like. I'd venture to guess, and I would think that you guys would all agree. I think HEB is a great store. I think they got great products. I would, I'd bet a sizable amount of money that if you went to HEB once, that if you had the opportunity to go again, you likely would go again. I feel the same way about Publix in Florida. I think they have delicious sandwiches. I think if you go once, you're going to want to go back and get those sandwiches because they have chicken tenders on them. Now, would I bet my life? No. Texas Beef Traders, I've laid out my life. I say, man, if you go one time, you're going back. And listen, you're going to get 10% off too if you tell them that you heard about them here on Football with Friends. No vaccines no vaccines for these animals. No shots, no steroids, none of this stuff, right? Run by great people, great ranches, local meat. It's like, it's American, it's local. You got to get it. It's just as cheap as the grocery store. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Our longest standing sponsor, I guess Specs kind of is. But as far as Football with Friends specific sponsors, certainly our longest standing current sponsor. So thanks so much for to Texas Beef Traders. Go check them out. Go see Darren and just see what we're always talking about. Texas Beef Traders.
I just made a big face because I just had a realization.
What?
One, I love me some Texas Beef Traders. I eat it as much as I possibly can, but I'm going to be moving in 2 weeks.
Cody flies in to pick
I
up.
just booked my flight to fly in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. But I just had the realization when you brought up Publix, because I haven't been to Publix in a minute. Shout out, no free shout outs, Publix. If you want to sponsor the show, hit up Sonny Nelson. You can do it really easily right here. Sonny Nelson at orangebloods.com. Anybody else too? Publix, but if you're listening, Publix, go do it. Publix is in my new apartment. The second floor of my apartment has a Publix in it.
Oh.
So not only, I just had this realization when you said this, because I totally forgot that they had the subs.
Yo, dude, I mean, how can you forget?
It's literally, I'll be on like the 7th floor, and I come down to the 2nd floor, and the whole thing is a Publix. I'm kind of excited now that you brought that up.
I mean, how can you not be excited about subs that have chicken tenders on them?
I totally forgot, dude. So now I'll get Texas Beef Traders and Publix subs. That's going to be my whole diet for the next year.
We don't eat too many though. That's a lot of carbs. So, yeah. We don't have Publix in Texas. No, we don't. I don't. I'm not sure. I think a lot of people are really. I think there's a lot of built-in just lifelong equity that people have in HEB in Texas. I think, man, you come. What do they say? You come take a swing at the king. You better not miss. I think you kind of come take a swing at the king in Texas if you go up against HEB. I saw this other one from S-Ron earlier. It's not really on topic, but I think it's interesting. How many 2026 first rounders do you see in this Texas team? And it won't. I mean, we could count Arch because he's technically eligible in 2026, even though he won't go.
Okay, so let's count Arch.
So Arch, I think Anthill,
Gooseby.
We gonna lose Gooseby that quick?
Yeah. We've seen. I don't. These are the 3 that I've seen mocked. Is Gilbo, Muhammad, and DeAndre Moore. So that's 3 to 6.
We're going to look, man, if Gilbo has a Jade Barron season, then Gilbo has a Jade Barron season, but he needs to go have it. Yeah, I don't think he needs to win a Thorpe. And I think that if Manny Muhammad has a Jade Barron season, I don't think he has to win a Thorpe. But despite what our friend,
if they both have Jade Barron seasons and they don't win Thorpes, they're Texas, and there's 4 or 5 of these guys are first round picks. They're winning the championship.
Yeah, it's asking a lot, though, man. I mean, Manny Muhammad has some things to clean up from last year.
Is it though? Is it asking a lot, or is it just saying, "Hey"?
No, I think it's asking a lot.
The prophecy.
I think it's asking a lot. I still have questions. I hate to say it because he's a good player, but I do have questions about Manny Muhammad's just pure top straight line speed. I just do. I don't know how you can't.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Good news is he's so long. He's got the length to make up for it, but it's hard to get a few of those reps from last year out of your mind. Still a very good player. But I would say if we just say, all right, let's not count. I think that what you can count on next year is seeing 2 and maybe
Trey Moore?
3 first rounder.
What about what does he need to do?
UTSA kind of sacks,
double-digit sacks.
Yeah, that could get him into the first round. I think. Talk about him like a super versatile player. So look, Ant Hill's true. Ant Hill. If we're not doing the cockamamie thing where we count Arch, Ant Hill is the only one that's the lock.
Yeah.
Right. Gooseby is a bit of a projection. If he plays like he did in the the A&M game and in the Georgia, was it?
So we'll go between 1 and 5
in Georgia,
and Arch would be 6.
What game was it? A&M and was it Georgia he played in, or was it Clemson? Gooseby.
Clemson.
Okay. If he plays like he played during that stretch, whatever it was, if he plays like he played during that stretch, he will get drafted and he'll probably be a first round pick.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I feel weird locking in a guy that has so few starts coming into his third season as a surefire first round lock, but he certainly has the ability. I think Texas basically at this point, between Gooseby and Gilbo and Manny Muhammad and the possibility of an outside shot of like a Trey Moore or who knows, you know what I'm saying? I think you could lock in 2 with the chance to maybe get to 3.
Can I ask you a wild one?
Yep.
How big is DJ Campbell?
How his size?
Yeah, is he 6'5" or 6'3"?
I think he's probably 6'4".
Do you think he's got, how long arms do you think he's got?
33. Let me look.
What would he have to do to be a first round pick?
As a goal, I mean,
because you think Quentin Nelson's your ceiling, obviously. Like that would have to be prolific.
No, I mean, Tyler Booker just went at 12.
Well, that was my. I was gonna say that was my. I was gonna go here, and then I was gonna go down to Zabel, and then I was gonna go down to Cody Mock. But so that's the thing I was getting at: Quentin Nelson, Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel, Cody Mock. Can he enter that conversation?
He's listed as 6'3", so not even 6'4". 322. And so if he's 6'3", his arms are probably 32 and 5'8", something like that.
He's probably not big enough then.
Yeah, I'll say
not athletic enough.
He's pretty athletic.
Yeah, but he's not.
I think he moves fine. I'm not sure that
he's not versatile like Zabel, and
he's not going to be. Yeah, he's not going to be a maniacal tester like Gray Zabel.
Yeah, and he's not
Gray Zabel. And he didn't play tackle. Like he's not going to be a Donovan Jackson, Gray Zabel, this type of dude. You know what I mean? So
and then for Booker and Quentin Nelson, he has to be a complete killer.
It's just a complete culture changer. Which I don't have any. I don't think that I've never heard that he's a bad dude or anything like that or bad culture guy, but I've also never heard that it's like, oh my God, you walk into the locker room and thank goodness we have the blessing of DJ Campbell in here. It makes my job so easy as a coach. Like if that's enough, you don't really hear that. You hear stuff from Sark saying like, God, I get so frustrated with him because I know what he's capable of. And there's no consistency, so much so that we have to kind of rotate Cole Hudson in with him during football games.
Yeah.
So, dude, man, we didn't even talk about Chris Stewart. Can we give the update?
Chris Stewart update.
Yeah,
wide receiver.
This is the last thing that we hit on that we put on the thumbnail of the thumbnail of the show.
We did the show backwards today, guys. We're just too excited to hype up Oklahoma today.
Yeah. I was fired up. Like I was taking dropping my kids off at their jiu-jitsu class, just listening to driving all the way into Lakeway and back. And, probably like it's like a 45-minute round trip just to get into, and that's why you can't complain about going to Texas Beef Traders. It takes me just as long to drive into Lakeway as it would take you to drive out to Lakeway. But, I listened to the Sark interview, got home right before it. It's like a 45-minute round trip. And, that's just what I wanted to talk about, man. You guys should listen to it if you haven't. So it's very, you won't learn much about the team, man. But you know what you'll kind of be is I think you'll be like proud of your football coach in a weird way. Just like you're like, man, I'm glad this guy's in charge. Anyway, the Chris Stewart update. Yeah,
Chris Stewart update was he was supposed to take a visit at SMU this weekend. For those that have paid attention closely to the Chris Stewart last few months, his brother Carter Stewart is a DB and does not hold a Texas offer, but I believe holds an SMU offer. And these guys are from Shadow Creek, Pearland, Texas. And the worry was he also signed last June. I think we were at the Rivals 5-star last June eating dinner when he committed. And the worry was potentially that he would be in the flip conversation because he wants to play with his brother was the thought. This past weekend, he was supposed to take a visit to SMU. This is all according to Jason Sucamil. He's got the write-up over at Orange Bloods. You can go check it out.
Did he not end up visiting?
He was he was scheduled to take a visit this weekend at SMU. Instead, he and his Pearland Shadow Creek teammates qualified for the UIL state track meet in the 4x200. So he came to Austin to run in track. And while in town, he was able to swing by the football facilities for a meeting with Coach Chris Jackson. So no SMU visit, and he visited Texas instead. And so Jason says, call it a win-win. He says, in quote, that visit went well for me. I got to get back down there and see my family. Stewart said, it felt good to be back around those guys and be back home, was the quote from Chris Jackson, the number 6th ranked slot receiver.
Chris Stewart. Chris Stewart. Chris Jackson.
What did I say?
You said you just said Chris Jackson. Well, Chris Stewart is the player we're talking about.
Chris Stewart, Chris Jackson. Yeah.
Couple of Chris's
just hanging out and having fun around the water cooler. Yeah.
Chilling out after the track meet.
Chilling
All
out.
right. Well, it's good news, I guess. They obviously want him. I've gotten to the point where it's like if they want him, it's like I said yesterday about Javon. Why am I blanking on his last name? The Javon. I just wrote about him yesterday. We had the whole show on him yesterday.
Javon. Levon.
Levon, right?
Like Javon. What do you got? Javon Walker?
Levon, that's why I had it wrong because it's Levon Johnson. So I was putting the J on the first part. Like if it's a guy. Whenever I watch Chris Stewart, we talked about it, and I think we talked about it on the show. And at the time, I'm like, I think he's fine. He's fine. If they like him, they like him. But it wasn't one of these things where it's like my eyes bug out like the Bugs Bunny cartoon. You know what I mean? So, interesting, man. Do you think that this means that they're going to try that they're not Texas isn't going to take some guy's brother?
Well, they did it last year.
With who? The Coleman
offensive lineman.
Yeah.
The Coleman brothers.
Which is wild because those are two more guys where I'm just like, trust Flood. You know what I mean?
And to be honest with you, take or not a take?
The Coleman?
Hindsight. You take them both, or would you take both or not?
I could end up looking real stupid on this, but I mean, I didn't know. I'd like that they would not have been guys that I went out of my way to go ahead and go bring in. So it is what it is, man. He's had a couple guys like that. I've been wrong about it. I've said the same thing about Kojo. Like this turned out that he's been actually like he's fighting for a starting job now. I said the same thing about Connor Stroh. Not that I have anything against these guys. I'm just like, we're supposed to evaluate, right? It's looking like that could be closer to being right. Maybe it's not. Maybe Connor Stroh turns into an absolute monster.
It does. Sorry.
I don't put anything past Kyle. I don't put anything past, Kyle Flood and his ability. And I think with this staff, they've earned the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if Chris Stewart's this guy. Like, I don't know if it's like an Arch Manning where you got to take his tight end friend too. Or like, I just like with Chris Stewart, it's to me, it just doesn't seem like a guy where you're like, dude, whatever we need to do, we'll take your brother.
But like, I don't know. I haven't watched his brother. So they currently have so his brother Carter has 2 official visits planned. May for SMU and then 1 in June at Arizona State. Both weekends, Chris will be there. Chris is going to SMU and Arizona State with him. The 2 off weekends, Chris is going to Miami and Texas.
Well, that's the Chris Stewart update. All right. So that's it. All right. Now, you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find us on X, at Alex Dunlap NFL, at Cody Carpentier. We also have to make sure and thank our great sponsors here, of course, including our terrific sponsor that always brings the fun. Of course, we're talking about Specs.
Texans know for selection and lower prices, it all starts at Specs. Shop Specs! No matter what's on the menu, we've got you covered. With all your favorites on tap, you'll bring home the win. Shop Specs! special occasion, flirt responsibly. Boots on, drinks up. The fun starts here.
Shop specs, low priced, amazing. Here's to you.
Golly, new commercial, dude. So
Like an
yeah,
hour-
you
like an hour
got a
long?
lot of Texas flair there. I think the thing that I liked the most was that couple drinking the glasses of red wine with that beautiful live oak tree behind them. But I also dug the whole beer pong thing and the line dancing too.
I know we're gonna get out, but I'm just gonna bring it up anyway because I watched House Divided today, and Ketch said two things on it that resonated. One came up in our OB chat as well, but that's why it came up was because he talked about
The enchilada thing.
the enchilada thing. I have had enchiladas. I'm from Minnesota, but
It's absurd.
from a perspective of y'all live in Texas and him not having enchiladas, like what is your
It's impossible. It's like it's not true. It's a bit.
has to be. He was honest though. He's like never. And then Chad popped up the picture. Chad popped up the picture from Hayes City, and he's like, "Yo, look at this." And it was like a big thing. And he's like, is that beans? And he's like, Chad's like, "No, that's like a meat sauce." And he's like, "Oh, I always thought that was beans." Like he's never seen it before. I was like, dude, there's no way he hasn't had an enchilada. And then the other one was they ran the Specs commercial and they had tequila, and Ketch was talking about his 5-shot drink that he always had. I can't remember.
The 5-star general back when Catch used to go out and party.
Yeah, but then he was saying how like tequila, like you know how I get when you drink tequila and you're like, you want this shot? How do I always react? I was like, oh, like I can't do it, right? I'll do one with you, but it's like I have a visceral reaction. He was like, Ketch said, I don't ever understand how people can have like a visceral reaction to tequila. Like it's just, why do you need a lime? Why do you need salt? Why do you need? He's like, it's just that's what his thought was on that. And my instinct was like, that's exactly how I am. I'm the guy that's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you know this, every time you drink tequila, I'm like, I'll have a shot. Once every,
not as often as me.
once a trip, maybe.
Me. I'll go through one of the big boy bottles during a week at the combine. I think tequila is the thing that gives it's the dark brown. It's the dark brown ones like the bourbon and the that stuff that I drink. And I think it's just because the first time I remember the first time you ever have you just go really overboard.
Yeah.
Like the first time I was drinking Jim Beam with my friend's big brother got us whenever he was off at college. And like, I'll just never have like that aversion. Like even good great bourbons and stuff, I can't do it.
So that Jim Beam honey isn't your go-to?
Dude, it honestly you just saying that like and just thinking about it kind of makes my stomach turn like a little bit even to this day. It was a bad morning. But hey man, it's been a good night here. Thanks to everybody for being here live with us. If you're not watching live and you're watching on Thursday, happy Thursday to you. Thanks so much for being here. We just always ask for 4 things. Please like the show. Please subscribe to the channel. If you have a friend you think might like the show, just forward this on to them, please. We're not telling to YouTube. We're just asking nicely. If you could please do that. And if you're watching the show for the first time, just come back, man. We're here every night, 6 p.m. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks to Texas Beef Traders. Thanks to Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. Thanks to Poncho Outdoors. And of course, thanks to our good friend, Andy Ludicky at myperfectfranchise.net. We couldn't do it without you guys watching. We couldn't do it without our great sponsors. Love y'all. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.